I told you guys this was going to be a big week. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has lost his majority leader power in the Senate. He will no longer be able to block the $2,000 stimulus checks that have already passed the U.S. House of Representatives. And we, of course, had the protests in the Capitol, and it looks like the Democrats are actually going to be pushing for an impeachment. I'm going to give you the latest details on that, as well as the $600 second stimulus check update and the $2,000 third stimulus check update. Let's jump right in. Don't forget to give this video a like down below if you haven't yet. It really helps out our channel. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe down below with the bell icon on so you don't miss out on new update videos coming out. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi tells both the Democrats and the Republicans that there is more support for impeachment of President Donald Trump than there was in 2019. In 2019, that bill passed the U.S. House of Representatives but did not pass the Senate. Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer from the Democrats are going to actually be pushing for a vote on impeachment here within the next few days. This comes after they released a statement on the vice president invoking the 25th Amendment that says, "This morning we placed a call to Vice President Mike Pence to urge him to invoke the 25th Amendment, which would allow the vice president and a majority of the cabinet to remove the president from his incitement of insurrection and the danger he still poses. We have not yet heard back from the vice president, and I personally don't think they will." She goes on to say, "The president's dangerous and seditious acts necessitate his immediate removal from office. We look forward to hearing from the vice president as soon as possible and to receive a positive answer as to whether he and the cabinet will honor their oath to the Constitution and to the American people." The number one most searched term on Google was, "What is the 25th Amendment?" The 25th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution says that if the president becomes unable to do his job, the vice president becomes the president and thus effectively removes the president, in this case, President Donald Trump. This can happen for just a little while if the president is sick or disabled for a short time. Now, I think we mentioned this on our second YouTube channel, The Daily Dirt. We had an interview from a law expert that said this amendment in the Constitution was not made as a punishment for presidents, although that is how they are trying to use it. And it will be unprecedented if they are able to do that, which I do not think they will, the 25th Amendment route, because I don't see any way possible that Vice President Mike Pence will actually do that to President Donald Trump. But I do think, and it looks like it's actually happening, that they are moving forward with impeachment proceedings. Let me know what you think will happen if they do hold impeachment proceedings here within the next few days. Do you think he will be impeached in both the House and the Senate? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Also, President Donald Trump seems to have gotten his Twitter account back after Twitter said they would be suspending it until after his inauguration day. We showed you his video yesterday, his video of hope, his video basically saying that he concedes to the new administration coming in, and he's pretty much sorry for everything that happened. Well, since this morning, it seems to be going back somewhat to his slightly different ways of posting. Trump says this morning, the 75 million great American patriots who voted for me, America first, and the Make America Great Again will have a giant voice long into the future. They will not be disrespected or treated unfairly in any way, shape, or form. He goes on to say, to all of those who have asked, I will not be going to the inauguration on January 20th. Somewhat of a different message from his taped video message last night, where he said, we need to move forward in unity and work together, and he will be working with the new Biden administration to do the transfer process. Seems like he slept on it, and yeah, he's not really all about that life. My wife's laughing in the background. Oh, it's just, yeah, 2020 is turning into 2021. It's just can you believe we're only a week into 2021? It feels like a month. Yeah. On the newest $2,000 second stimulus check update, Bernie Sanders, who has been pretty much the main proponent of everybody pushing for these. Remember, he was the very first person months ago back in the summer that said that we had 2000 that we should have $2,000 per month stimulus checks. And him and Republican Senator Josh Hawley were the two senators to really push when there was $0 of stimulus check in that second stimulus package that we know ended up being $600, and have spearheaded, along with President Donald Trump, the third stimulus check of $2,000 that has an almost certainty to pass now that Mitch McConnell is no longer the Senate Majority Leader and can no longer block that bill that did pass the House of Representatives for $2,000 stimulus checks and $2,000 stimulus checks for children and adult dependents. Let's hear what Bernie Sanders has to say about the checks.
I remember what happened in 2010, and that is the Democrats during the 2008-2010 period controlled the White House, they controlled the Senate, controlled the House. You remember that? Mm-hmm. And you remember what happened in 2010? Democrats got wiped out. They had the power, but they did not deliver for the American people. So what we have got to do right now, no ifs, buts, or maybes, is have an aggressive agenda that says we understand that millions of people, including my neighbors right here in Vermont, people lining up in their cars in order to get emergency food. People can't pay their medical bills. People are going deeper and deeper into debt. People are facing eviction. Millions of people have lost their jobs. We have to act and act now. And the first order of business, by the way, is to pass an emergency COVID-19 bill, which, among many other things, says to working class Americans, we know you're in pain, and we're going to get you a $2,000 check for every working class adult in this country. We are on your side. We are prepared to take on the big money interests who have so much power. We're going to expand healthcare to cover the uninsured. We're going to deal with student debt. We have got to be bold in a way that we have not seen since FDR in the 1930s. And if we do not do that, those millions and millions of people who vote for Trump, they're going to continue to believe that government does nothing for them. And we've got to change that attitude. The only way I know how to do that is to do the work that the people need us to do. And by the way, we have got to develop strength in grassroots organizing all over this country. Instead of investing in consultants and 30-second TV ads, we need to put tens of millions of dollars into neighborhood and community organizing all over this country. Talk to people, knock on their doors, not just the week before the election, but 2 years before the election. Listen to what they have to say. Can they afford health care? Can they afford prescription drugs? So we need to be bold, and I will do everything in my power to see the Congress moves in that direction.
Let me know your thoughts on that down below in the comments. He had some interesting things to say there. One, not too long ago, what did he say, about 10 years ago, that the Democrats had the same thing. They had control of the presidency, the House, and the Senate, and they lost it shortly thereafter. I've already seen some analysts say that they don't expect the Democrats to hold this position of the House, the Senate, and the presidency for more than 2 years, because remember, the Senate is a 50-50 tie, with the tiebreaker only going to Kamala Harris. So if they lose one seat in the Senate in 2 years from now, the Democrats will lose control of the Senate. And remember, they lost a lot of votes in the U.S. House of Representatives. They have a much narrower margin of lead in the U.S. House. So the Democrats could lose the House or the Senate next time around. And Bernie warns that they need to shut up or put up, starting with $2,000 stimulus checks to help out the American people, or that the same thing could happen again, that they could lose their power in as little as 2 years. Now, we have seen from Chuck Schumer, who will be the Senate Majority Leader going forward, and from Bernie Sanders and really a lot of Democrats, that the $2,000 stimulus checks will be one of their first priorities on order when they get control of the Senate, which has not happened yet. Mitch McConnell, it'll have to be interesting to see if Mitch McConnell is willing to pass the $2,000 stimulus checks before this transition of power in the next few days. Because if Mitch McConnell does it now, first of all, he knows the $2,000 stimulus checks are going to pass. He knew they were going to pass last week when he blocked that bill that passed the House. And a lot of people say that was his grave mistake because now they lost both those Senate seats in Georgia, and Mitch McConnell will no longer be the Senate Majority Leader. And a lot of people say that's solely one reason only because he blocked having a vote on that $2,000 stimulus check bill. Even his own Republican senators were saying, you got to at least put it to a vote, buddy. You got to put it to a vote. It passed the House with an overwhelming majority. We got to at least vote on it. And Mitch McConnell, being Mitch McConnell, the same thing he's done for years, whenever he sees a bill that he doesn't 100% like, he can just block it. He can just table it and just delay it indefinitely. We've seen that with the HEROES Act and the HEROES Act 2.0 earlier in the year, which were other stimulus packages. Now, in fairness, the Democrats bloated the at least the first HEROES Act. It was very, very large, okay? Much larger than the Republicans were going to do. And Mitch McConnell just tabled it. Now that the Democrats have control of the Senate here shortly, Mitch McConnell will no longer be the leader. They're probably going to do all those things anyways. They're going to pass the $2,000 stimulus check. They could pass the HEROES Act with a $3 trillion stimulus package, which Mitch McConnell delayed, but ultimately ended up costing him and the Republicans the Senate control. So the question is now, are they going to? Well, we almost know they're going to pass the $2,000 stimulus checks because they already passed the House. So they're going to pass those and then send it over to the Senate. And we've already heard from Republican senators that they know that there is enough support in the Senate to pass it. But then they're going to start passing large stimulus packages also, and probably multiple stimulus checks going until the pandemic is over. So it seems like all this blocking and delaying that Mitch McConnell did over these last several months may have not only cost him and the Republicans the Senate, but the Democrats might get their way anyways, passing massive stimulus packages like we have never seen before. And we're starting to hear from law experts that the Democrats will likely be able to do this with just a simple majority of 51 votes using the special reconciliation rule going forward, which you can only use a limited amount of times, but you only need 51 votes to do it. Now, they'll probably not do that for the $2,000 stimulus check because there's enough support to pass that with 60 votes. Remember, the Democrats have 50 in the Senate now, so they only need 10 Republicans. But it's likely, and we're already starting to see a lot of people talk about this, that for bills that they can't pass with 60 votes, that they'll likely call upon the reconciliation rule, which gets rid of the filibuster rule in the Senate. I know this can get kind of confusing. That's why I try to just explain it so where an average everyday person can understand it. But the reconciliation rule gets rid of the filibuster rule, which requires 60 votes in the Senate to pass a bill. So with the reconciliation rule, you only need a simple majority. There's 100 senators in the Senate, so you would only need 51 votes to pass that. And law experts are already saying that the Democrats will be able to do that with stimulus packages and stimulus checks going forward in the future. So they probably won't need that for the first $2,000 stimulus check because that passed the House with a 2/3 majority. And we've already had multiple Republican senators speak out and say that they're already for it, and the Mitch McConnell should have already put it for a vote. So they're going to pass that $2,000 third stimulus check here shortly. But honestly, that's going to be just the start of it. Now that the Democrats have control of the Senate and the House and soon to be the presidency, just if you just look at the Democratic agenda, they want more stimulus packages, stimulus checks until the pandemic is over. They want student loan forgiveness. They want to, the Biden administration wants to raise Social Security by Social Security, SSI, SSDI, railroad benefits by $200 per month. They also have talks of free college, higher taxes possibly, although I don't expect that to happen within the first year while the pandemic is still going on. But the Biden administration does want to raise taxes in certain different spots and possibly also repeal the Trump tax cuts. Now, we've seen from another expert that I covered on the channel yesterday that if they repeal those Trump tax cuts, the amount of money that costs our budget every year, that they could pass $1,875 stimulus checks every month. I think it was for 8 months for the same amount of money. So instead of the Trump tax cuts, they could pass $1,875 stimulus checks every month until the pandemic is over, basically, instead with the same amount of money, which is very close to the $2,000 stimulus checks per month that Senator Bernie Sanders and Vice President elect now Kamala Harris championed months ago. It'll be interesting to see if we see that once we get past the first $2,000 stimulus check. I will keep you guys updated. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel with the bell icon on so you don't miss out on new updates. New videos come out at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and sometimes at 11, most likely tonight also. Thanks for watching, guys. You can click this top video here to watch my newest stimulus check video next. And this bottom video is a new video my wife hosted on our second channel, The Daily Dirt, about the protest and the Trump impeachment. Click on one of those to watch them next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video.